Have you heard of the brand Gymshark? Well, if you ever dabble outside of the outdoor industry, you will know that Gymshark is the world's fastest growing sports and gymwear clothing brand at this point in time. It's 8 years old and currently has a market value of $2 billion US. In today's episode of Business of the Outdoors, we want to have a conversation together and with you about the lessons learnt of building a business value to $2 billion in 8 years, started off by a 19-year-old in his bedroom at home while working at Pizza Hut. So if you're curious about that, listen in. I don't know an outdoor business owner out there really who wouldn't fancy himself having a $2 billion business. I mean, I'd quite like one of those. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine being 27 years old and have a business that you own 75% of that's worth $2 billion? No, I've never got that far personally.
No.
I've sold a business, didn't get anywhere near that much for it. In fact, I might not be sat here now if I'd sold it 75% of $2 billion. I might not be sat here now. So, Mark, we followed the journey of Ben Francis and Gymshark. And I suppose the first starting point is what do you take out of that in terms of what you observe outdoor business owners currently doing? So what are they doing that's replicating the journey? Let's start there.
Hustling.
I
think that's the thing about Ben Francis is, as you said, he built this from his bedroom, progressed into his garage, and then from his garage slowly built, but he hustled. And what he did is he did every single step of the process himself, which is very much like an outdoor business owner, which is getting the customers, going to run the events, do the training, the guiding, the products, the sweeping, the everything. So hustle is the first thing that is the biggest similarity.
I mean, the other thing he did that some outdoor business owners we're coaching and working with at the moment and guiding are doing very well for themselves is the other thing he did is he built, he chose to manufacture himself and sell direct to the customer online as opposed to having a traditional, let's take the North Face, for instance, manufactures gear in China, ships it to the US, sales rep goes around all the stores, all those different layers of profit that are involved. He actually took out all the middlemen and said, I identify you, the gym goer, as my customer. I'm going to sell my products online directly to you with no middlemen. Therefore, I can offer you a better than Nike quality for 75% of the price and probably make more profit per garment than you do anyway.
Easy sale.
Yeah, that's it. Easy sale. So he's chosen to do that bit, but he built the community and sold to the community by going around to events. Yeah. And I think that most outdoor business owners are on the edge of having an epic community to go to sell to. Maybe they just don't spread the word far enough, or maybe they haven't got a structure for that community that's attractive enough to bring people into. But I think they're getting closer.
Yeah, because I think the similarity as well, he's got a really good product that his influencers in his target market absolutely loved. So he went out there and he tried to get the biggest names in bodybuilding.
Yes.
And he clothed them in his stuff. He brought them to the events, which was the attraction. The attraction was the individual. And then they looked at the individual and was like, shit, you look good. And then they looked at the Gymshark. And then from that, it was, right, I want to go and buy the product. And it's the same with a lot of outdoor business owners. It's don't be scared to let go of your product and allow other people to sell your product on your behalf.
The other thing that he did was he sold his products to start with to a very clearly identified group of people who were bodybuilders. Now, that's where it started. If you follow the Gymshark story now, you'll find out actually that he's now selling to 90+% average gym goers who go no more than once or twice a month. It's people who want to be gym goers and wear gym clothing, but aren't actually
the bodybuilders.
Yeah. So he started in a specific place. So in the outdoor terms, that could be high altitude mountaineers. In the knowledge that somebody who goes backpacking at the hills at the weekend really wants to have that stuff that goes up Everest. I mean, they do really.
Cool.
It's cool. It's nice shit.
These trees have been up Everest.
That's it. I mean, why would you want an average tent when you can have one that does really well for itself at Camp 5 on Everest? I'm having the Camp 5 on Everest one every time.
Yeah.
So they start with a specific audience. But I suppose, Mark, the next part of this conversation is, where is it that Ben Francis's business journey deviates from the average outdoor business? And what was the trigger point behind that? And what are the pros and cons behind that as well?
The first thing is, I'm amazed by his maturity at such a young age.
I'd never had that maturity at that age.
Yeah, I think I was doing at his age. What he did is he recognized pretty quickly what he was really, really good at. And he got the business to a space that he knew at that age, with that experience, he couldn't take the business any further. So he put his ego and his love for Gymshark to one side and said, I'm going to change that love to something different. The love is not about making Ben Francis the hero of the story. The love is about, how do I make Gymshark the hero of the story? So he removed himself, he identified himself as a blocker, removed himself and brought someone into the business who was so much better than him at what the business needed to go forward.
So interestingly, through Shopify, who he uses still today as his platform to sell through, part of that realization happened through an investment in himself, about himself as the owner of a very fast-growing business. And Shopify arranged the opportunity for $10,000 plus flights, etc., to go and spend 5 days with Tony Robbins on his Tony Robbins Fijian island in his resort. And it was for Shopify's fastest growing customers, but they had to invest 10 grand plus flights to get there. So I guess from the UK, Fiji's a chuffing long way. So I bet he's in for 13 to 15,000 total. And that realization came around after having 5 days with a coach who's going to ask you awkward questions, challenge you around what you want, and ask you, how are you going to be the person today to go and take those actions? Maybe you're not the person to take those actions because you don't know, haven't learned enough yet.
Yeah.
So he did the brave thing in that after he did that investment in himself, the next thing he went to go and do was to find a CEO to run his business for him, while he spent the time doing two things. One, doing what he is absolutely amazing at while still being a majority shareholder. And for Ben Francis, that's product development and community stuff. Yep. That's like engage with the community, build cool product that the community say they want, do it at a profit. That's his thing. And number two was to spend time sitting with all of the other senior people he'd employed to actually go and learn, what is it that the accountant or CFO does? ? This marketing thing, if I get a decent marketing manager in, what is it that they really do and why is it that they really do it? How is success really measured? So on and so forth. I think, Mark, that's probably the bit where outdoor business owners come unstuck. I mean, it would be fair to say I could see a point in time with We Get Outdoors where it's not right for either of us to be the CEO or managing director of the business.
100%. And I can't wait for that day to happen.
Yeah. And arguably, it's almost a race to get there as soon as possible.
Exactly.
It's a sprint.
That's almost the driver that we have, to make ourselves unemployed or redundant out of our current role.
Well, it's to understand that the things that we do really well is creation and coaching or consulting, helping other people grow their businesses. We're very good at applying that for ourselves, but really speaking, our genius is actually supporting other people.
Yeah, that's what and also, not only that, that's what we love the conversations. We love helping. We love engaging and interacting.
Well, you look at over supper last night when I came off that call with Tyler from Adventure Colorado Tours. I was buzzing.
Couldn't shut you up.
No, I mean, it was an incredible conversation. He's made a great roads in his business. He's getting hugely more profitable, amount more clients. And that motivates me. It gives a buzz. And I don't think either of us particularly enjoy sitting at a laptop at a desk in meetings, building stuff to grow the business. Like, we do it and we're good at it. I'd much rather go and support somebody else to do it for their business.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's almost a race to how quickly can we employ a CEO, even if that's going to be a hard financial decision because we're not ready yet for the CEO. to set us free to excel at what we're really great at.
Yeah, and it's understanding also the value of cash. So if sometimes a business might not be quite ready cash-wise, but the handbrake that's being applied to the business by the wrong person running the business is greater than the cash they're going to lose. And that's what and again, as we carry on with the Gymshark story. So Ben Francis stepped to the side, stayed in the business, brought in the CEO. And recently, the CEO came to the same realization.
It was funny, isn't it? Because the CEO then said, hey, Ben, I know you employed me to be the CEO, but in about 2 or 3 years' time, I'm going to be the wrong CEO for your business. You need a different CEO. And Ben Francis was I think, this isn't what he says on YouTube, but in my mind, I'd be like, oh crap. I just think I've solved my recent problem 2 years ago. Everything's going great. And then the solution I thought I've just been told isn't the solution. And now my CEO has told me something even more shocking, which is, Ben Francis, you need to upskill yourself and you need to come back in 2 or 3 years' time and be the next CEO. Now, what a brave decision to make. Now, Ben Francis is got a high level of integrity, in my opinion, and very high level of honesty. And so he's kept the CEO involved in his business as a vice president, getting the CEO to do what he is great at when he steps back. And Ben Francis has now retaken the reins of his business and taking it forwards after that 4 to 5 year window of learning.
Such a cool brand.
That's it.
Such a cool story.
And so I suppose there's some questions we could ask. How attached are you to being the boss? Or the CEO or the MD or whatever it is, the decision maker, the in-charge person?
Yeah.
Because probably you're so heavily attached to that status that the status that's really important, you're giving up. And that is, how much percentage do you own in your business? And how much money does that percentage in that business really make you?
Yeah.
How does that percentage of that business free you up to spend 2 months, I don't know, hiking and fishing in Alaska every summer, if that's your thing? Or if you're into mountaineering, 3 months in the Andes or the Pyrenees in peak season. That percentage and that money buys you opportunity that you don't currently have, because you're blocking your business by letting your ego be attached to a title and a status, as opposed to attaching it to 70% of the business that facilitates this lifestyle for me. And trust me, and you're going to have to trust both of us for this, people will respect the quality of your lifestyle over your job title and what you say you do every single time.
That's where the jealousy kicks in. People are more jealous, aren't they? If they see you having these 3 months holidays and stuff than they are about, oh, you're a C-suite or you drive. They just don't. I much prefer to be. That's what we strive for.
The comments I always get is it's like, nobody ever asks, how did you become the CEO of We Get Outdoors? Nobody ever asks that question.
Well, we fought for it and you won.
That's it. We tossed coins and drank beers and I won. But nobody ever asked that question. How did you become the Chief Adventure Officer? Nobody ever asked that question, right? What are the questions that people ask? Mark, how have you just spent 2 weeks mountaineering in the Drakensberg mountain ranges in South Africa and still kept a business running, functioning, and earned really well from it, and kept your relationship going, your kid happy, and so on? How did you do that? That's the question you get asked.
And then you came back, you worked for 2 weeks.
I went off again.
And then you went off and went skippering in a yacht.
Oh, you did a skipper course? Yeah. How? They say to me, Rob, you often say you have 12 to 14 weeks vacation a year. I'm like, yeah. How do you afford that? How do you do that? Whatever else. Nobody ever asks me about the CEO or the title or anything else like that. It's always, the respect comes from, Rob's next year going to go and spend 6 weeks in Yukon territories, 3 weeks on the Yukon and 3 weeks at an old gold mining camp doing bushcraft and panning for gold.
How?
And the answer is, I don't really care what my title is. He doesn't really care what his title is. It's about understanding what you're good at and understanding when you need to get out of your business's way, because your shares are worth more than your ego.
I love that. I think it's a great way to wrap this up.
That's it.
How brave are you?
How brave are you? That's it. That's it. Hand the reins over.
So if you want to become a bit braver,
Yep.
how would our audience do that?
So if you're struggling with this concept, or even if you want to call bullshit, yep, or you say that's not possible, or I can't afford it, or I can't do it, or whatever else, well, jump on a call with us for free, 60 minutes of our time, call bullshit, or ask, importantly, your questions about how can I make that possible for me? Yep. It's free of charge. Mark and I put 6 hours a week to one side, 3 hours for each of us to do those calls for free. So put some aside. The link is below to go and book that. And if you want to also go and, hey, here's a cool idea. Come on our podcast and get interviewed. Ask for help from the community and say, I need a CEO. Who do you know? There's a link for one of our podcast opportunities there where you can come on one of our podcasts, get your business, your message, and your brand in front of 80,000 of our followers on social media. That's no BS, by the way. Go and check out the Facebook We Get Outdoors Facebook page. I think you'll find 57,000 likes and followers on there of outdoor enthusiasts.
Yep.
And then you can go and check out YouTube, Instagram,
And our tribe.
TikTok. Oh, the tribe's another 17,
yeah.
20,000. Just go check us out. You'll find that the numbers are true. So if you want to do any of those things, check out the links below and take action. And maybe if you don't take action, you want to resign yourself to, I've blocked my business's growth and I don't really want to have what it is I set out for when I set my business up.
Ouch.
Stay awesome, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.